Good morning and welcome to the Magic Forest. Um, yeah, another beautiful day in the Magic Forest. This is my current Magic Forest, but like I say, the Magic Forest is transient. It's not one particular place. Um, I remember once I said to Hongwei, and it was when we lived in Shinbeito, and we lived by this in this thermal valley, and it was beautiful, like the thermal vents, or there was a big thermal pool, and steam was coming up, and every morning I'd sit and have a cup of Yorkshire tea, and the sun would come up through the steam of the thermal vents, which are right in my garden, and it was beautiful. And obviously we made fairies and put them around, and it was in a forest. And she said, I was saying to her, like, I want to kind of live in a magic forest and fill it full of fairies. And she's like, you do live in a magic forest full of fairies. And I'm like, oh yeah, yeah. I'll make another one. So yeah, this is my current magic forest. um, I forgot to tell you about the marathon move from the city out to here, because I did make a video and then I messed it up, and then I thought I'd said it, but I missed it out again. Anyway, I can't do editing. If I'm making a 16-minute video, I want it to take 16 minutes to make. And so on the morning, firstly I had a bag malfunction, like one of the zips had broken. It was it's like a massive holdall, but it's also got a pulley thing, and the zip broke on the bottom section, so I had this large amount of clothes that I couldn't, because my whole packing arrangement was designed that I could carry everything on my back, and maybe Henry in a lead on a hand, and the zip broke, and then was had this extra bag which I couldn't take, and then I told the landlord there, who was a really sweet guy, that I wanted to leave Henry here, take the stuff there, and then come back, pick up Henry. And then his wife just went absolutely nuts. She I was waiting, pulling the bags downstairs, and then she just come out shouting at me, like, all in Vietnamese, about the Chol, Chol, which is a dog. So I was like, okay, but then I didn't want to leave Henry here with the new, because there's 5 dogs here and he didn't really know them, and so I was kind of like life is always like that, when people say you've got like a chicken and a fox and a bag of corn, and you have to get to the other side of the lake, and you can't leave the chicken with the corn because the chicken will eat the corn, can't leave the fox with the chicken. And so I always think my life is just like that. I've always tried to get things from here to here, and that life is generally like that. I would leave that there and leave. And so I had a Henry, and I had a angry woman that I couldn't leave Henry with, and then I had dogs that I couldn't leave Henry with, and then and interestingly, I also had a bag of rice with my phone in it, and I was like, do I want to take a heavy bag of rice? But then yeah, so I had a bag of corn in essence, and so then I thought, well, my bag's broken, the woman's going mad. I convinced her that I would only be an hour, and then so I put all my bags in the taxi, came here, and then got a scooter back, and then walk back with Henry. So I mean, it's always a marathon when you've got 100 kilograms of stuff, but it was, it wasn't quite the marathon that I intended. It was actually a bit of a cop-out marathon. I took the easy option, which sometimes it's just like, just get it done and stop stop showing off. I can go for a run if I want to do a marathon. Oh, I got my hair cut yesterday, which was really a nice experience. Um, it's funny, yeah, obviously I got my hair cut. People say, oh, did you get your hair cut? It's like, no, I just had my ears lowered. You know, this is strange. Of course I had my hair cut. I think, like, we were talking to the barbers, like, there was this guy came in and he had, you know, he had lost most of his hair and just shaved it off. But he had a big old beard and he went to the barbers to get it nice and round. And I said, well, I'm kind of enjoying it while it still lasts. But then I think, you know, like a comb over, the definition of comb over is when it goes like from here around to there. You're using this hair to comb over to cover up the fact that you've got no hair here. So this is not a comb over. So as long as it's not a comb over, this is actually hair. And I think it's allowed. And it depends on the barbers, you know. But, yeah, and I think he did quite a good job. And it was really nice barbers. Like, it was kind of in that style of a Victorian barbershop or a hipster barbershop. You know, I wanted to have a shave, so I'd left myself a little bit unshaven, and met this lovely guy who he was Mexican American, and he had a ridiculously long name like me, and having a ridiculously long name means that it's always a problem when you're doing visa things or passport things or anything where there's boxes that don't ever fit your naming, because my full name is John Albert Montgomery Riddington Young. And it sounds very posh, but actually it was like in the 1960s, my dad, who was working class, and my mum, who was working class, there was a kind of thing where you could actually move upper class. I don't think you can move upper class. I think you're born in your class and you're either, you know, nouveau riche or you're middle class. Yeah, so I said to him, like, why you give me so many long names? You don't know how many hours, because also the passport reader thing, computer, quick check-in, doesn't work because my name doesn't fit on the page that it wants to read. I have to have an extra page with my name on it. And so I said to my dad, like, you wouldn't believe how many hours I've wasted in airports just because you gave me a stupid name, a long name. It's not a stupid name, it's a nice name, but it's a long name. Just so he could think, and he does believe that he has actually moved up a class. But he speaks with a very working class northern accent. And anyway, so I met this guy and we had this immediate affinity that our hair was falling out and that we had ridiculously long names that caused trouble in airports. And so I was just sitting there and it was really nice having a shave, you know, they're doing my hair, I completely trusted them. The guy that ran it was really funny, Vietnamese guy, and he was, you know, like really confident boy who spoke nice English, and he was just like that, just smoking weed. Like, oh, do you want some smoke? I was like, oh yeah, I'll have a little bit of smoke, get my hair cut. And then I just sat there back in my chair, just like meditating in the room, just being present in a barber shop. And that's the beautiful thing about meditation, is that, or mindfulness, is that it is possible to do it wherever you are. Just bring yourself back to the present moment and feel every scratch on your chin and feel your breathing. And it was beautiful. And then after the barbershop, I spoke to the guy, and he said he'd kind of just arrived but wants to live here as well, and set up his own business. And he's a musician, and so I said, well, you know, I'm living out in Long Bien, but I want to go for a coconut before I come back. from the city. So I said, well, do you want to walk along and I get a coconut? And he got a coffee and we got chatting, and then he said, oh, I can give you a lift back to your place, because he was quite keen to see it. And so he came back, and here they have a really lovely little cafe, and it's nice. You kind of help yourself, and it's got an honesty box, and it's really nice. And they got large selection of teas and coffee. And so he came back, and there's a guitar down there. And so he was like, oh, do you mind, picked up the guitar, and do you mind if I play, do you think anyone would mind if I play a song? And not at all. And it was amazing, absolutely amazing, just beautiful voice. He was singing a song, I forget the name of the guy, because I hadn't heard of him, but it was in that kind of new wave country, sort of Texas, Austin, Texas, South by Southwest festival, which I love, and he was just brilliant, and it was nice, because you know, he wasn't a loud American. He was kind of, his voice was in his music, and that was just so nice. And so yeah, he came back here, and it was a lovely day. I'm going to make 2 videos today, because I did want to go back into the articulation of positivity related to manic depression, and so I'm going to do that now. Okay, so that's an update on my life. I should have a little symbol on the YouTube for what is like just about my life, because that is the documentation of the journey, which is important, and then the philosophy and the art is all a different thing too. So next will be philosophy in the magic forest. Okay, take care, and I love you, and I shall see you in the magic